Hey guys, J77 here doing another movie review, and this movie I actually had pondered on reviewing for a while, and I basically decided to finally check it out, and it's a movie called Shame. Now this film is very unique. It got a very high critical acclaim, and it's been out for quite a few months now, and that's due largely of the word of mouth. This film has gotten a couple of award recommendations, all except for the Academy, I believe, because I don't think it got anything for the Academy, at least not that I checked on my list. But I know it was nominated in the Golden Globes for Best Actor, and it has actually got nominated for other prestigious awards as well. And I gotta tell you, for the acting, it well deserves it. The acting was very solid in this movie. I thought both characters played well to each other. They really knew how to show emotion and body language in this film, which is very important. This movie, which is NC-17 by the way, and probably the first NC-17 since I believe The Cook, the Thief, and the Wife and His Lover, that has gotten very high praises for a lot of people. And that's largely because NC-17 has been getting a scarlet letter for both the media and major movie theaters. Major movie theaters will not carry NC-17 movies, and that's largely due to pressure from the press, pressure from the people who suggest that NC-17 is this, official pornographic rating system that the Motion Picture Association of America has done. This is actually my third NC-17 movie I reviewed in my lifetime. The last one I reviewed was the one with Robert Downey Jr., and that was Two Girls and a Guy, which was, to me, was pretty much overrated because it wasn't bad, but it wasn't anything special. It could have been a rated R film, and it probably would have had the same effect. But this one, it definitely needed the NC-17. For the fact is that a lot of scenes in this film are very mature and at the same time very explicit when talking about the sex scenes in this film. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not like any pornographic films out there. In fact, this film has been treated with utmost respect. For the fact is, it's dealing with a very serious subject matter, and it deals with sex addiction. This character who oh man, how can I explain this? This character is definitely going through a lot of situations where he's trying to fight his addiction, but he's losing it badly. He's masturbating in the workplace inside the bathroom. He has porn in his work desk, in his computer. He basically looks at porn at home. He basically has tons of magazines. He's basically sleeping with women. He's definitely showing, he's definitely a bona fide sex addict, and it doesn't show any good light to it. It's very sad, very depressing, and this character is sad and depressing. One day he gets a phone call from his sister, which was even more depressing because hearing what she's saying, and then she ends up showing up out of the blue. And basically is pretty much living with him for right now. This doesn't vote too well, although he doesn't throw out right away, but you can tell he doesn't want her presence, and that's largely because she's not all there herself. She is definitely going through a lot of stuff, emotionally, mentally, and being that he's going through a lot of stuff himself with his own problems. It's definitely a lose-lose situation no matter what. And by the way, the actors, you can easily tell they're not all there just by their facial expression, their emotion, and just the way they talk. Things started to really unravel with these characters. One, the sister ended up sleeping with his boss. He ends up putting risk where it almost got him caught a couple of times. One at his work where his boss or his supervisor have said that he has tons of porn in his computer, but really doesn't expect him to have it because there's no history with him, putting porn there. But that's pretty much got him to be more aware of it. That he's putting too much risk. He's getting caught by his sister, which basically laugh it off. And the tension and the innuendos that you see in this movie is pretty much out there. You pretty much don't know their past. They don't die too much with the past between the brother and sister, which I don't think you need to learn too much, that they both did not have a very good childhood growing up. I'm just saying, if you see this film, you pretty much understand where I'm coming with that. It's really, it really shows, it's a no holds barred. I'm not holding anything back. This is what pretty much sex addicts go through, and it's not pretty. It's not pretty at all. The sister is definitely not stable. She ended up almost killing herself at the end, which her brother actually caught on time. But that's after they had like an argument stating his values and stuff. He ended up trying to quit, but ended up relapsing very, very quickly. Just as soon as he's trying to quit, because he ended up throwing a lot of magazines away. He ended up throwing a lot of stuff away, trying to, come to terms with his addiction. But that didn't vote too well. And the film ended pretty much the way I expected it ended, because it ended pretty much with no true closure. And I can live with that, for the simple fact is, do anybody really know the answer to dealing with this kind of issue? I don't think so. Not at least into a major conclusion. This is a film that has a tone, and it stuck by the tone, and it ended exactly the way the tone has have accumulated. So I can simply say that although the ending, it pretty much had no closure, it was expected, and I was fine with it. I'm not going to get too deep into the film for one reason. This is the kind of film that's very, very, very hard to explain. If I have to sit there and dissect it from each scene to scene, I'll be here all day, and I really don't want nobody to say, damn, he's taking too long to explain a film that really don't need that much explaining. So I'm just going to go tell you the good things, and I will tell you the bad things about this film, because there are some good things I had a little problem with. But I'm going to explain the good, I'm going to explain the bad, and I will explain my overall rating for this film. First of all, I'm going to get to the good parts. The acting. This acting was fantastic, and it needed to be fantastic, because let's be honest, the acting alone is carrying this film. There's nothing else there. There's nothing else in between. You have your stars. They're set up. Their characters are well developed. The subject matter is well respected and well presented to the audience. So I have no problem with the acting. I have no problem with the script. I had no problem with the directing. Directing was very good. I think McQueen have done a tremendous job in making sure that this very serious subject matter, very depressing subject matter, is treated with care and respect. And I give my thumbs up to him for doing such a good job. What else can I also tell you? The pacing in the film, although it has its spots, were pretty much respectable. It's not great, but it's definitely there where it's not losing me. It could have been better, but for what it's worth, it definitely it knew when to give the crowd a breather, and it knew when to move the film along. So I will give it credit for that. What I didn't like about the film, I think there's a little bit too much padding when it comes to certain scenes. There was a lot of scenes in this film I really didn't care for. There was one scene where he and I believe the secretary was seeing each other, and this is the only person he did not sleep with, I believe, because he was married, and he has a problem with sleeping with someone who is married. That's the one thing that pretty much keeps him in check. But they never really touch on what happened afterwards. Did they stay friends? Are they talking to each other? It was never really discussed. It pretty much disappeared. So I did have a little problem with that a little bit. Like I said, the pacing was okay, but there are some spots I wish they could have just edited out. That's just me. But other than that, it's just pretty much it. Oh, there is one thing. There's no music. And that I was a little bit disappointed. In certain scenes, I kind of wish they wore music. I understand that he wanted the characters to carry the film, but there were some scenes I kind of wish the music was was there, just to keep me from thinking, okay, hurry up, man, with this conversation. But that's just me. That's just my opinion. But there is very little music. at all in this movie, which I find very kind of disappointed with that a little bit. But other than that, this is a very, very good 3.5 star movie. This is a very, very good movie. But I have to give a word of warning. If you get offended because of the sexual overtone, the sexual innuendos with the brother and sister, and believe me, there is a lot of sexual innuendo with the brother and sister right from the beginning when she first came in to other scenes that makes you scratch your head because they never really touch on that subject at all. But you can pretty much hint where what they're trying to tell you. If you can live with that, if you can live with dealing with that, then that's fine. But if you have a problem with this, if you have a problem with the sexual undertone, just with a problem with how sex is presented, no matter if it's done with respect, I suggest you wait and watch it on DVD, at least, especially with this film. Again, this film is for mature audiences, ages pretty much 35 and up. I would not recommend this for any young audiences unless they're mature enough and understand the full subject matter of what this film has done, because this film, again, should not be taken lightly. This is not a popcorn film. This is not a film this is not a junk food film. This is a very serious film that deals with a very serious subject matter. Now I have to address one last thing before I go, and that is the NC-17 film. I'm hoping, because I did a video on this before this movie came out, that can shame bring back credibility to the NC-17 rating. I gotta say, if they make films like this, and it doesn't have to be basically sexually explicit, it just has to be something that is very seriously mature and deals with serious subject matter, I think the NC-17 can come back to credibility, especially with a film like Shame, because I'm gonna tell you right now, this is not a porn film. It's not a a triple X film. This is a film that needed to have the sexual explosive scenes in order to further explain this character's addiction. It is necessary for that to be there. And if this film would have been edited as a rated R movie, I'm gonna tell you, I don't think this film would have worked. This film would have failed because they would have taken out a lot of scenes that was needed for this film to further explain the situation that is in this movie. If they would have took it out, it would have probably just basically be a mediocre to boring film, and you can't make that film. This film is a very straightforward serious drama, and straightforward serious drama goes in a somewhat slow pace. You take out those scenes, this might as well not even bother making the film, and that's the thing I think why they didn't bother trying to fight the MPAA, because they would have known that by them trying to edit it down, it pretty much would have messed with the art equality of the movie. But the fact that the critics have recognized this to be a great film is a plus for this movie, and also a plus for the NC-17, because there was also lots of talks for years to discontinue that rating system and implement a new rating system, which is known as I believe they call it the Heavy R, which they haven't talked much about it. It hasn't even been mentioned. But if they can do films like these and people can recognize it, I don't see why the reason is why you can't have more NC-17s come out into art house theaters, and slowly, and I say slowly, into other major theaters. But major theaters have to step up the game. I know why the movies theaters don't take NC-17, and I'm pretty much going to put that blame on Showgirls for being such a tasteless piece of trash film that it is. But that's another review for another day, by the way. But if this film like this can be done in good taste, and if it's film that is more of an adult, mature theme than just a film just basically have crazy sex and all the other stuff that you think that NC-17 movies are, I think it could work. And I think that, but I think also believe that Hollywood, as well as the producers, have to make it work and have to make it very clear that this is an adult-only film, because it has mature subject matters that young moviegoers will simply not understand. And believe me, this is not for everybody. Young moviegoers is not going to understand this film too much. It's very rare. But this is a film for basically a mature audience, and I'm actually happy they kept the NC-17, and pretty much that's all I gotta say on the matter. I'm repeating myself, so I'm gonna cut it on. So 3.5 stars for this movie. It's a very, very good movie. Worth checking out in the theaters if you guys have the time. And even if you want to wait to DVD, I would recommend you to watch it, but watch it with mature people. It's not for kids. It's definitely not for anyone who gets offended with certain subject matters, especially the things that happen. And that's pretty much it. Until then, this is J77 signing off.